Again. Adonai, King of the universe, good morning, Lord, and thank you for the air that we've breathed to start our day, Lord. Cared for us in our sleep, Lord. And we thank you for this moment to, again, open your word and to share with this little group, Lord, that you've created. And we pray that the words that we say and the thoughts that we have only glorify you and raise you up. Thank you for each and every one here this morning, and open our ears and our hearts to hear and to know and to apply it to our lives to change. In Yeshua's name, amen.
Amen, amen. Thank you, Steve. So today's Parashah 59. It's a very, very amazing Parashah. We will read a lot. Today we will read three chapters from the Torah. Well, two and a half chapters from Torah. But let's get started with some questions that I have prepared for you so we can start reflecting on these matters. Just a moment. And actually, I put them on a slide, so it's easier for you to maybe just screenshot it or write it back or copy it, because sometimes I believe they are too long to just for just me to dictate them. Where are they? So here they are. So question number one, start thinking about yourself. How do you react? How do you tend to do things or tend to respond to things? So question number one. Sorry. When you are overwhelmed by a heavy responsibility or calling, do you tend to isolate and carry it all yourself? I agree with that one. Or are you genuinely open to outside wisdom that challenges how you operate? That just the truth. Just your first thoughts. How do you react? How do you respond when you are overwhelmed? The key thing here is the overwhelmed heavy responsibility or calling. How do I react? Isolation, carry it all by myself, or genuinely open to outside wisdom that challenges how you operate? And it does have to deal with today's Parashah. Question number two. Just your first thoughts right there. Question number two. If your primary life mission was redefined today as bringing healing, freedom, and restoration to the brokenness around you, what is the very first area of your daily routine that would have to change, that would need to change? What do you need to change? So we'll discuss about this in a moment. And last question for today. How do you react when a profound truth or a needed critique comes from a source that it's incredibly familiar or ordinary to you? Do you lean in to listen, or do you instinctively dismiss it? Say, come on, yeah, really, you're giving me the answer? Is the Lord really speaking me through this person or through this situation? No, come on, that's way too ordinary. That's too familiar. Anyway, start reflecting on those three questions to see what the Lord wants us to listen today. So today's parashah will revolve about 2 chapters and a half from the Torah, with an amazing, it opens up with an amazing chapter, which is chapter 18 of Shemot or Exodus. I believe this is like one of those chapters that is just included in the reading. That at the very beginning, when I first read them, it was like, why is this chapter right here? It's like dismissed from place or like very forced into put it into action, but it does have a very, very interesting sense of being there. So chapter 18, let's go to Exodus chapter 18. The the presence or the visit of the Moshe's in-law, which is Jethro or Jethro, which he had a very interesting approach. So how do you get along with your in-laws? Do you have in-laws? How do you get along with them? That's an interesting interaction here between Moshe and Jethro. So let me read it for you. Chapter 18. Now, Jethro, the priest of Midian, so he was a priest, Moshe's father-in-law, heard about all that God had done for Moshe and for Israel, his people, how Adonai had brought Israel out of Egypt. After Moshe had sent away his wife Zipporah and her two sons, Jethro, Moshe's father-in-law, had taken them back. The name of the one son was Gershom, a foreigner there. For Moshe had said, I have been a foreigner in a foreign land. The name of the other was Eliezer, my God helps, because the God of my father helped me by rescuing me from Pharaoh's sword. Jethro, Moshe's father-in-law, brought Moshe's sons and wife to him in the desert where he was encamped, at the mountain of God. He sent word to Moshe, I, your father-in-law Jethro, am coming to you with your wife and her two sons. Moshe went out to meet his father-in-law. This is interesting. Moshe prostrated himself and kissed him. Then, after inquiring of each other's welfare, they entered the tent. This first interaction is just amazing. Moshe prostrates himself, kisses him, and they start just getting along. And how is everything with you? How are you? Are you fine? How are you? And then go into the tent. That's interesting. Verse 8. Moshe told his father-in-law all that Adonai had done to Pharaoh and the Egyptians for Israel's sake, all the hardships that they had suffered while traveling, and how Adonai had rescued them. Jethro rejoiced over all the good that Adonai had done for Israel by rescuing them from the Egyptians. Jethro said, Blessed be Adonai, who has rescued you from the Egyptians and from Pharaoh, who has rescued the people from the harsh hand of the Egyptians. Next verse is an amazing statement also. Now I know that Adonai is greater than all other gods, because he rescued those who were treated so arrogantly. Jethro, Moshe's father-in-law, brought a burnt offering and sacrifices to God, and Aharon came with all the leaders of Israel to share the meal before God with Moshe's father-in-law. So this is very interesting because this guy is a priest of Midian. He's Moshe's father-in-law. He's not from the people of the 12 tribes of Israel, but still he's being considered like a very important person. So even Aharon and all the leaders from there were just sharing this, the burnt offering, the sacrifices, sharing the meal with this guy, with Moshe's father-in-law. So he was like very, very important. And he realized who God is. Verse 13. The following day, Moshe sat to settle disputes for the people, while the people stood around Moshe from morning till evening. When Moshe's father-in-law saw all that he was doing to the people, he said, What is this that you are doing to the people? Interesting that he starts with a question, not with the statement. He starts questioning, why are you doing this? The approach of Yitro to Moshe is like God's approach sometimes. He starts questioning, where are you, Adam? What are you doing? Who told you to do that? Start with a question. Interesting that not everyone starts with question. We almost, at least myself, I start with blunt statements. Stop doing that. Keep doing this, or you're doing it wrong. You just fix that instead of asking a question. What are you doing? Then, so this is an interesting question. What is this that you are doing to the people? Why do you sit there alone with all the people standing around you from morning till evening? Moshe answered his father-in-law. Let's see Moshe's reason. It's because the people come to me seeking God's guidance. Whenever they have a dispute, it comes to me. I judge between one person and another, and I explain to them God's laws and teachings. Moshe's father-in-law said to him, "What you are doing isn't good. You will certainly wear yourself out, and not only yourself, but these people here with you as well. It's too much for you. You can do it alone by yourself. So listen now to what I have to say. I will give you some advice, and God will be with you." So it's interesting that he's going to give advice to Moshe. The advice is you should represent the people before God, and you should bring their cases to God. You should also teach them the laws and the teachings and show them how to live their lives and what work they should do. But, this is an interesting but, you should choose from among all the people competent men who are God-fearing, honest, and incorruptible. So this is the way of choosing people. Competent men who are God-fearing, honest, and incorruptible to be their leaders, in charge of thousands, hundreds, fifties, and tens. Normally, when they will settle the people's disputes, they should bring you the difficult cases, but ordinary matters they should decide themselves. In this way, they will make it easier for you and share the load with you. If you do this, and God is directing you to do it, this is a very important part of the verse, and God is directing you to do it, you will be able to endure, and all these people too will arrive at their destination peacefully. Moshe paid attention to his father-in-law's counsel and did everything he said. Moshe chose competent men from all Israel and made them heads over the people, in charge of thousands, hundreds, fifties, and tens. As a general rule, they settled the people's disputes. The difficult cases they brought to Moshe, but every simple matter they decided themselves. Then Moshe let his father-in-law leave, and he went off to his own country. So this is an amazing chapter because actually we know that the following chapters that we are about to read, 19 and 20, is the delivery of the 10 words in the Mount Sinai to all the people of Israel. So this chapter 18 happening before is the importance also to have the proper structure of the people of Israel. That means us too. The organization needed, required, the establishment of leaders and the how to solve disputes and all the matters and teachings also before receiving the 10 words, before listening to God. So this is interesting, the structure, the organization required beforehand. And this was Jethro's only mission. Jethro just came to bring Zipporah and the sons of Moshe, and just to speak about this counsel to Moshe and bringing this whole organization to the whole people of Israel. Remember, they were 600,000 men, plus women, plus children, plus the elderly. So there was at least 3 million of people, and they had no organization. They were just walking around. But Jethro comes and he sells this into place. So it's interesting chapter. Before turning into chapter 19, any questions or comments under this Jethro's interaction with Moshe? Anything so far? If not, let's jump into chapter 19.
Can I just make a comment,
Let me just
Molly?
turn on the... Actually, you know what? I'm going to change from the speaker to the earphones. But I listen to you, Steve. Yes.
Yeah, I just find it interesting that sometimes in the Bible it's with other. I can't think of specific examples, but here, Yitro, He doesn't seek God's uh, he doesn't seek God for the advice he gives Moses. It's just that I've got advice for you right now. I just find again, I'm with the things that you even teach Moe, it's like we should be seeking God first, but here we see Yitro go, no, I got, like you said, he said he's got some advice for him to Moshe, like to Moses, right? So it doesn't say that he seeks God for advice. He's Jethro's got the advice. So anyways, just
It,
that's just my thought.
yeah, that's very interesting. But let's see on verse 23. It says, if you do this and God is directing you to do it, so that's the seek for God's advice. I'm giving you this advice, but seek for God's advice too. It's not just do it yourself.
Well, and I think that ties in with your question, right? With one of your questions that you gave us, is that absolutely instinctively, like again, it's that last, do you lean in to listen or do you instinctively dismiss it, right? So absolutely, he says later, if God tells you, here's my advice, but if and you can take the advice, but if God doesn't direct you on that advice, probably wasn't good advice.
Mhm.
Is that fair to
Mhm.
say?
Yeah, that's very fair to say.
Okay, okay,
Okay.
yep, all right. Yep.
Thank you, Steve. Lud, you have raised your hand. Yes.
Yes. Well, as Jethro, he was a priest himself, because that was kind of the labor that Moses was doing, being a priest, judging between the people and God. So, as Jethro was a priest himself, I think he was speaking from experience what could work, like in practical terms, to serve the
Yes,
people.
even sorry, even though he was from Midian, from the Midianites, it is most likely that he knew who God was.
Well, yeah, he was a descendant from Abraham, so
Mhm.
I'm sure he knew about the God of Israel, the God of Abraham, right?
Yes, but maybe only as a theory, because until he sees what God had made for Moshe and Israel, taking them out from Egypt and the Pharaoh, he says, "Oh, and now I know that He's the greater God of all
Yeah,
gods."
yeah.
So
Well,
yeah.
so that's. I mean, he knew of about God, right? I don't
Mhm.
know if he served God himself or other gods, but he was a priest and he knew about God because he was a descendant from Abraham.
Yes, that's amazing.
Yeah.
Thank you, Luth. Dominic, yes.
So yeah, I was in that same change of thought. Definitely the Detroit wasn't fully served the Adonai because he came from another culture. Made me think how this story is telling us that God can use anybody because, as you say, we are the we are no. Let's say me, right? I'm really quick to jump into conclusions about if you tell me what you believe or where you come from. I'm and somehow I dismiss what you're telling me. But with this story, it's telling you to be aware that actually God can use anybody at any moment to guide us or give us wisdom because what is giving Jethro here is wisdom. He saw something that even the man who saw the back of the living God who couldn't see before. So we love Moshe because he's a great prophet, one of the greatest. But even though he spoke with God, but God, instead of tell him there directly, He sent the help in another way. So it's amazed me that we should be aware of without any prejudgment if these people is coming here talking in the name of the Lord.
Yes, thank you, Dominic. That's an amazing commentary. Although they do present Jethro on who he was and how respected he was. So also, it's not that advice is going to come from anywhere. It could come from anywhere. God could use even a donkey, and we'll see with Bilam. Uh, but yeah, we should be careful on who we listen. And even though the advice might seem uh, proper or considerate or according to the Torah, we should always seek God to see what God is telling about that advice. As just as he actually said, to just go and pray and see what the Lord tells you about this advice. So yes, it is yes to your commentary, but also be aware to connect again with God always. Okay, thank you, Dominic. Look, you raise your hand again. Yes.
Sorry, I forgot to say that how thoughtful of God to send Moses' wife and children back to him. I mean, because I don't know if Moses was probably too busy to think about sending somebody to grab his wife and children, but God took care of that. And I think that Moses probably would need the company of his wife handling all that burden. And also, it's very important, the character qualities that the ministers of God to serve the people must have, right? God-fearing people, uncorruptible, which is very different from what we are used to.
Yes, it
Our
is. Thank you.
authorities.
Thank you, Luz. I never thought about it until now, but it doesn't say about Moshe's reaction upon seeing his wife and sons. But interesting that it says who their sons were. I think it's a reminder, well, a couple of reminders there uh, of it is not good for men to be alone. Be with your helper, be with your eser kenegdo, but also the sons is one. Remember that you are a foreigner in a foreign land, and remember that I'm the one helping you. So the two names of their sons, because they express in here in this chapter. So it was like a reminder for Moshe. Yeah, it is okay what is happening in all the people and all the 600,000 men and women and all those children, but remember who you are. Remember your who you are and where do you came from. I think that's a reminder, because it doesn't say, oh, Moshe went happy though seeing, or he went sad, or I don't know. He could be even mad about, oh no, and now my wife, and I don't know. It doesn't say anything about it. It doesn't
No,
say,
but
it doesn't
I'm
even mention it.
assuming that he was happy to not sleep again alone by himself.
Well, we are assuming it
Yeah,
might
I'm
have,
assuming.
it might have not. We don't know.
Well,
Okay.
okay. That's my point of view.
But it's interesting that it doesn't mention his reaction.
Yes.
It's interesting.
It says that he only talks with his father-in-law. It
Exactly.
doesn't say that he talks with his wife and his father-in-law and his children.
Yeah, it doesn't say anything about it.
Yeah.
Not now, or not even further in the Torah.
Yeah.
That's interesting. Thank you, Luz. Lucy, you have raised your hand. Yes.
Good morning, everyone. You just take my words. It's,
Oh,
it's interesting how timely Jethro's arrival is, because Moses, he thought that he was doing everything right. He thought he was having the help of God and he was following God's commandment. He wasn't looking for advice, he wasn't looking for support. He was with Aaron, with all the elders. And still is the timely arrival of Jethro. And what happened? Do I have family? Do I have a wife, children? Going back to the essence, you are a human being, you have family that is supporting you. And also how interesting is to offer unsolicited advice. I learned many, many, many months ago that calling people's attention to things that probably could be done better. People didn't receive the advice. From my perspective, I was giving an advice and it was like, shut it down and just you don't know what you're talking about. But the wisdom of Jethro, what are you doing? That is not good. And it's not good for you to be alone either. It's not good for you to be just a man. You need support from the elders and you need your wife and your children. So really good, the timely intervention, God-given intervention and the wisdom to Moses. And the guy probably is gonna be being upset, very, very, very upset. And somehow at some point he's gonna remember the wisdom of the words.
Thank you, Lucy. Yes, that's an amazing interaction between Jethro and Moshe. So anyway, let's go to chapter 19. Let's go to chapter 19. Chapter 19 and 20, remember, is the setup for the Lord speaking in his 10 words. We'll see in a moment. So let's go to chapter 19. In the third month, after the people of Israel had left the land of Egypt, the same day they came to the Sinai desert. After setting out from Rephidim and arriving at the Sinai desert, they set up camp in the desert. There in front of the mountain, Israel set up camp. Moshe went up to God, and Adonai called him from the mountain. Here is what you are to say to the household of Yaakov, to tell the people of Israel. You have seen what I did to the Egyptians, and how I carried you on eagle's wings, and brought you to myself. Now, if, and this is a very important if you will pay careful attention to what I say and keep my covenant, then you will be my own treasure from among all the peoples. For all the earth is mine, and you will be a kingdom of Kohanim, that's translated as a priest, but also can be understood as administrators or ministers, kingdom of Kohanim for me, a nation set apart. These are the words you are to speak to the people of Israel. If you don't mind, if you are highlighting your Bible, this is the kingdom of Kohanim. This is very important. This is very important, and we'll connect all the rest of the verses that we'll read in the Haftarah and in the Brit Hadashah. The kingdom of Kohanim for me. If then. Verse number 7. Moshe came, summoned the leaders of the people, and presented them with all these words which Adonai had ordered him to say. All the people answered as one. Everything Adonai has said, we will do. Moshe reported the words of the people to Adonai. So Adonai said to Moshe, see, I am coming to you in a thick cloud, so that the people will be able to hear when I speak with you, and also to trust in you forever. Moshe had told Adonai what the people had said. So Adonai said to Moshe, go to the people today and tomorrow, separate them from me by having them wash their clothing, and prepare for the third day. For on the third day, Adonai will come down on Mount Sinai before the eyes of all the people. You are to set limits for the people all around and say, be careful not to go up on the mountain or even touch its base. Whoever touches the mountain will surely be put to death. No hand is to touch him, for he must be stoned or shot by arrows. Neither animal nor human will be allowed to live. When the shofar sounds, they may go up on the mountain. Moshe went down from the mountain to the people and separated the people for God, and they washed their clothing. He said to the people, prepare for the third day. Don't approach a woman. On the morning of the third day, there was thunder, lightning, and thick cloud on the mountain. Then a shofar blast sounded so loudly that all the people in the camp trembled. Moshe brought the people out of the camp to meet God. They stood near the base of the mountain. Mount Sinai was enveloped in smoke because Adonai descended onto it in fire. So it's interesting. Thunders, lightning, thick clouds, shofar, fire. This is an amazing display of events. This is just simply amazing. Imagine to be there just living that kind of experience. So verse 19. Oh, no, verse 18. Its smoke went up like the smoke from a furnace, and the whole mountain shook violently. As the sound of the shofar grew louder and louder, Moshe spoke, And God answered him with a voice. Adonai came down onto Mount Sinai to the top of the mountain. Then Adonai called Moshe to the top of the mountain, and Moshe went up. Adonai said to Moshe, "Go down and warn the people not to force their way through to Adonai to see him. If they do, many of them will perish. Even the Kohanim who are allowed to approach Adonai must keep themselves holy. Otherwise, Adonai may break out against them." Moshe said to Adonai, "The people can't come up to Mount Sinai because you order us to set limits around the mountain and separate it." But Adonai answered him, "Go, get down. Then come back up, you and Aaron with you. But don't let the Kohanim and the people force their way through to come up to Adonai, or he will break out against them." So Moshe went down to the people and told them. So we're about to start on verse 20, chapter 20, with the 10 words that the Lord is going to say to the people. But I don't know if you have any commentaries on chapter 19 before going and jumping into chapter 20. Any comments? It's interesting that the Lord sets up limits first. That's something that we're not used to. Set limits and set the instruction, and the interaction between God and the people is made through Moshe. So he's like the link between what God is saying and what the people are responding. So he's saying something, Moshe goes back to the people and he says them, and he brings back the answer. So this function of connecting the people with God, this is the function of a Kohanim. A Kohanim is a priest, is the bridge or the link between people and God and the people. So that's the main function. Interesting that in chapter 19, as I told you, in verse 6, he says, "You will be a kingdom of Kohanim for me." All of you. So one of the task or the work of a Kohanim is to have this interaction between the people or family, between God and the family and God. So connecting people with God. That's one of the main functions of a Kohanim, and to be present with God directly. Anyway, commentaries on this chapter 19 before jumping into 20? Anything? Okay, if not, let's go into jump into 20. So interesting. It is very important for you to understand on the Hebrew language, because we will see a big difference here for what it says here on the CJB, which, as far as I know, it's been written by Jews who know the Hebrew language. But we will see the proper translation on the Hebrew, from the Hebrew, directly from the words and verb conjugations. So it does change a lot. It does change a lot. So what we are about to read is what we commonly know as the 10 Commandments. And what do you understand as a commandment? What is a commandment? What do you understand as this is a commandment from God to you? What are we supposed to do with a commandment? Yes, Lucy?
Marching orders.
Exactly. We see them as just orders, right? You are to do this, no matter if you like it or if you feel it like it or if you are possible to do it or not do it. It's a commandment. It's just there. You have to do it no matter what. So that's what we understand as commandments. So let's start with chapter 20, the very first verse. So it says, "Then God said all these words." It doesn't say he said all these commandments. It doesn't even say instructions. It says words. And actually, according to the Torah, these are going to be known as the 10 words, not the 10 commandments. And that does change a lot. Because from the Hebrew language, and you can research all this, you can research on the Strong's Dictionary, the Gesenius Dictionary of Hebrew Chaldee, or the There's another Jeff Benner's Lexicon of Biblical Hebrew. You can see that a word is not a commandment. A word is more understood as a matter, an oath, a promise of something that is going to happen. So that's why we have this expression that I give you my word that I will do this. I'll give you my word. It's like a promise that we are about to do. We don't live in that anymore. We don't say, I give you my word, I will pay my rent. Or I will, I don't know. I give you my word that our word nowadays, it doesn't have this, this importance anymore. Back in the day, giving your word, anything that comes out from your mouth is considered a promise to be fulfilled. That your life, your honor, your fame dependent on the words that came out from your mouth. Because every single word that comes out from our mouth is a promise, is an oath. So that's the importance of these 10 words. These are promises for God to be fulfilled. If we see them as commandments, then all the burden of these words come for us to be for our own strength to fulfill these words. But if we see the words from the Hebrew perspective, these are words and promises that God is going to deliver to the people. It's not requirements that he says for the people to be with him. These are my requirements for you to be with me. Or these are the commandments you need to fulfill. No, this is the promises that God are giving to the people. Let's read them first from the CJB, then we'll read them from the Hebrew, a mechanical translation of it, and you'll see the difference. Okay, so verse number 1. And in the CJB, right there to the side of it, it has some Hebrew words. I don't know if you have them. Not all the English translations have these separations. It has an Aleph, Bet, Gimel, Dalet, Hey. So just small letters, Hebrew letters there to separate the 10 words. So let's go to Aleph, which is verse number 2. It says, I am Adonai, your God, who brought you out of the land of Egypt, out of the abode of slavery. Let's go to the Bet, which is the second word, the second promise. You are to have no other gods before me. You are not to make for yourselves a carved image or any kind of representation of anything in heaven above, on the earth beneath, or in the water below the shoreline. You are not to bow down to them or serve them, for I, Adonai your God, am a jealous God, punishing the children for the sins of the parents to the third and fourth generations of those who hate me, but displaying grace to the 1,000 generations of those who love me and obey my mitzvot. Mitzvot is another word for commandments, but also it cannot be translated into commandment. Mitzvot is more like a direction or where to follow, nor a blunt commandment. Let's go to Gimel, which is verse number 7, which is the third word or the third promise. You are not to use lightly the name of Adonai your God, because Adonai will not leave unpunished someone who uses his name lightly. Dalet, which is verse number 8. Remember the day Shabbat, to set it apart for God. You have 6 days to labor and do all your work, but the 7th day is a Shabbat for Adonai your God. On it, you are not to do any kind of work, not you, your son or your daughter, not your female or your male or your female slave, not your livestock, and not the foreigner standing with you inside the gates of your property. For in 6 days Adonai made heaven and earth, the sea and everything in them. But on the 7th day he rested. This is why Adonai blessed the day Shabbat and separated it for himself. Letter Hey, which is the 5th word. Honor your father and mother so that you may live long in the land which Adonai your God is giving you. Ba, which is verse 13. Do not murder. How can we see that as a promise? Do not murder. It does it does read as a commandment. Do not murder. We'll see the change in the Hebrew there. Saying, do not commit adultery. Do not steal. Do not give false evidence against your neighbor. Do not covet your neighbor's house. Do not covet your neighbor's wife, his male or female slave, his ox, his donkey, or anything that belongs to your neighbor. So let's stop for a moment there. So let me just share with you, that way also I made some slides, the direct translation from the Hebrew to the English in the proper verb conjugation and with the proper translation of the Hebrew words in there. So you will see I hope you'll see the big difference there. We can see them as promises from God to the people and not as requirements from the people to be with God. That's a big thing. That's a big thing. So the 10 words, or 10 davarim, which is words. Davar, remember, it can be translated also as oath, promise, or just a matter. So the 10 words. First word. And Elohim spoke all these words, saying, I am Yud-Heh Vav-Heh, your Elohim, who made you go out from the land of Mitzrayim, from the house of slaves. That's the first word. Do you see anything as a commandment there? Anything as a requirement there? Is just a mere statement on who he is and what he has done for us. So I am Yud-Heh Vav-Heh, your Elohim, who made you go out from the land of Mitzrayim, from the house of slaves. I am the one doing this for you. That's the like the set for the rest of the words. That's number one. That's a statement. Second word. Another Elohim will not exist for you in my face. But interesting to mention here. Will not exist for you. Will not exist for you. It's in the future tense form of the verb. Will not exist for you in my face. You will not make for you a sculpture and any resemblance which is in the skies above, and which is in the land below, and which is in the waters below the land. You will not bend yourself down to them. So how we can understand this is, because I have brought you out from Egypt, you will not do this. Not because I require that from you, but that this will happen of you being with me. It's like you love me so much that this will not happen. Simply, this will not happen. I promise you that this will not happen. It's like a marriage, no? In a marriage, we say that, how do you say in English? Votos? Your vows. You say your vows. Your marital vows. Imagine that in my wedding, I say to my wife, well, here are the 10 requirements for you to be marrying with me. I want you to make me chilaquiles every single day. I need a very hot coffee because I cannot be without coffee. And imagine if in a wedding that the husband says to the wife his requirements for her to be with him. That's crazy. That's not happening. No, if you marry with me, I will protect you. I will serve you. I will love you through all the rest of my life. It's the promise that I'm making to you, that if we make this bond together, make this agreement, this covenant, I will do this for you, give you my life to you. Even in the good and the bad, in the poverty and the richness, I will be there with you, for you. This is the same sense of these 10 words. That's why I'm taking so much time because we need to understand this. God is not asking us to fulfill any requirement to be with him. It's him that with his love, and if we really feel his love, we will start changing because we love him too. We love him back. Because we love him, we change our lives and our sense of the meaning of our life in order to be with him. Not because a strict commandment, military grade commandment. No, it's not like that. It's not like that. It's not a requirement. It's a promise that he will make for us. So you will not be made to serve them, given that I am Yud-Heh-Vav-Heh, your Elohim, the mighty one of zealousness, registering the twistedness of the fathers upon the sons, upon the third generation and upon the fourth generation, to the ones hating me, and doing kindness to the thousands, to the ones loving me, and to the ones safeguarding my directives. Yes, Catalina, you have raised your hand, yes?
Yes. um, about what you are saying, I understand what you are saying, but it's not that God is giving us a command, like you said. But I think what God is doing is setting limit, what He will accept or He will not accept in a relationship, and that is something healthy. It's like even in a marriage, you are not telling your future husband or wife, hey, this is you don't. I mean, they compare what you have said about the chilaquiles and all that, but the thing is not, it's not setting um telling the other person, you need to do this. Basically, it's like, hey, these are my limits. And it's something healthy. We need to do that with any kind of relationship. I will accept this because, like he said, I am holy. And it's like you are in a relationship, you are saying, hey, I'm not going to accept that you are unfaithful to me. Not because I'm telling you to do that, but because I respect myself so much and I know who I am, that I will not accept anything less. Because this is part of my character. I'm faithful, so I just expect the same thing. So what I understand about the 10 words is like God is setting limits. They are healthy because He's holy and He cannot go against His own character. It's not a commitment, and I think it's a reflection for me to understand that I need to set limits like my God set limit, because if you know who you are, you will not upset anything less from other people, because otherwise you cannot have a relationship. And that is the way that I see it. Thank you.
Yeah, it does have a sense of truth what you are saying, because yeah, actually we can see it like a marriage. No, this is who I am. First word, and second, you will not look to other men. Let's say in a marriage, that's the limit. Yeah, that's the limit. But he's also saying, because you will know who I am, you will not have the need to see two other men, or in this case, another Elohim. You will not. You will not have this need to serve other gods. You will not have it, because you will know who I am. I am the one who brought you out from the land of Mitzrayim. So yeah, it's a limit, but also it's a promise that will
Yes.
happen.
I mean, yes, you are doing something for the other person.
Mhm,
But if we are
mhm.
talking about the 10 words, basically, you need to set limits in any relationship, in any situation. So, yes, God loves us and He did that. Basically, He proved that He is faithful, that He's trustworthy, and He's going to build this relationship with Israel. So, He's putting His limit, like what He's going to accept or not accept in this relationship. For me, it's easy to understand it that way. That doesn't mean that everybody needs to go and see it my way, but I think it's just like, hey, I prove you that I'm faithful, that I did this for you, and I want to build a relationship with you, but this is my limits, my boundaries, what I
Eh,
to accept or not. So in any relationship, that should be something clear. Unfortunately, we live in a time that those we don't even know who we are, so we cannot set healthy limits. But God, the way I see it, God is setting these limits about who He is, and He cannot betray himself. Let's put it that way. He cannot. If he's holy, he repeated, because I am holy. Otherwise, and if you don't try to improve yourself, I cannot have a relationship with you, because God will cease to be God. Anyways, I'm just going in a deep thing here in my own my own mind. Thank you.
thank you, Catalina. Lucy, yes, you have raised your hand too.
I think that if we are reading this understanding on chapter 19, verse 6, And you will be a kingdom of Kohanim for me, a nation set apart. And these are his promises for the Kohanim, for the people that are loving him. And here on the second verse, it says, people that hate me, really, they are not going to get any display. They are going to see my love to you. But for the ones that loves me, for the ones that made the choice to be part of my nation, to those are the promises. The Christian church, I remember the pastors were saying, just come as you are and say this little 5 seconds prayer and you are safe and everything will be okay, because Romans 8 says, therefore there is no longer condemnation awaiting to those who are in union with the Messiah, Yeshua. And yes, the Messiah is there showing the love, and here the Father is showing us the love, but it's for the ones that are part of the kingdom. The other people, until they don't renounce to their gods, until they don't renounce to their idols, until they don't renounce to the pagan traditions, they are not going to receive the blessings. So I see that the limit is, or the boundary is, this is to the people that belong to him. Other people from other nations, they are not getting this promise. And if we are walking on Torah, trying to observe Torah, following Yeshua and his love, when he is promising us there is no longer condemnation, as long as you are part of the Kohanim kingdom, as long as you keep as a set apart person, if you want to keep living ordinary, like the common other people, probably you are not going to get any blessing. And that's not a punishment, that is our choice.
Thank you, Lucy, for your commentary. Yes, I also see it that way. Let's go to third word. And actually, sorry, I forgot to tell you about the. You can look it up here in this website, mechanicaltranslation.org, which is the proper conjugation of verbs, the proper translation of verbs from the concrete, not abstract Hebrew mentality. So this is a very interesting site to just keep looking on the word. Daniel, you have raised your hand, yes?
Yeah, just quick question before we move forward. You had mentioned earlier, it's in the CJB, the Hebrew word, right, or right before each verse. What is the translation for that? Is that the whole thing here, or is it one singular word,
Oh, well, not the Hebrew
or is it
letters
just a
in
one? One, two?
yeah,
Yeah.
actually, remember, every Hebrew letter can correspond to a number. So Aleph will be number 1. Bet, which is the second letter of the Hebrew alphabet, or Aleph Bet, would be number 2, or the letter Bet. Okay,
Oh,
so
okay.
next Hebrew letter is the third letter on the Hebrew, so it's number 3.
Oh,
So
got it. Thank you.
Hebrew letters and numbers can be interchanged. Okay, so let's go to number 3. You will not is not that you won't. You will not lift up the title of Yehovah your Elohim. It's interesting how it says here in the. You are not to use lightly the name of Adonai. You are not to. You are not to. It's not the same as you will not. It's different. You will not lift up the title of Yehovah your Elohim for the falseness. Given that Yud Hei Vav Hei will not acquit one who will lift up his title, his name, for the falseness. Number 4, remember the day of ceasing, to set him apart 6 days. You will serve and you will do all your business. And the 7th day is a ceasing to Yud Hei Vav Hei your Elohim. You will not do any business, you and your son and your daughter, your servant and your bondwoman, and your beast and your immigrant, which is in your gates, given that 6 days Yud Hei Vav Hei made the skies and the land, the sea and all which is in them, and he rested in the 7th day. Therefore, Yud Hei Vav Hei exalted the day of the ceasing, and he set him apart. Number 5, honor your father and your mother, so that your days will be made long upon the ground which Yud Hei Vav Hei your Elohim is giving to you. Will be made. Again, a promise to the future that will happen. You will not murder. Do not murder is not the same. Do not murder, just blunt, direct commandment. You will not murder because you are with me, because I have attracted to you, because you are with me and you love me and I love you and you love me back. You will not murder. This will not happen. You will not have the sense of killing anyone. You will not murder. You will not commit adultery. It relies, these words or statements rely more on God's love than in human strength. It's not because our humans, we can say, oh, I want to. If it depended on human strength, we will still be committing adultery because it depended on human strength, but because it depends on God's love, we don't have the need to commit adultery. You will not commit adultery. That's a promise from God to us. You will not steal. You will not afflict your companion with a witness of falseness. This will happen to you. This will happen to me. So these are promises. You will not crave the house of your companion. You will not crave the woman of your companion and his servant and his bondwoman and his ox and his donkey and all which belongs to your companion. So these are the 10 words, the 10 promises that will happen to us because of God's love on who he is. So we will be transformed in such a way that these not commandments, these words will be a reality in our lives because we are being transformed by his love. So those are the 10 words. Let's keep reading on the CJB. Yes, Steve?
Question, and maybe you have an answer. I hope you do. Anyways, is why do you think, or I know it's just you're using the exact translation. So over the years they put Sabbath into the fourth commandment, and in the translation you just read it was ceasing. Do you have a commentary or a thought of why you think that's there, or is it just purely just the translation?
But I didn't get it. Why is the word Shabbat instead of ceasing? Or
Yeah, because all the pretty much if we look at any of the English translations, they've taken the word ceasing and made it Shabbat, and yet obviously my understanding now is Shabbat is Shabbat, and in the Christian church it's they've switched from Saturday to Sunday based on on the history of them, but yet here we see it not as Shabbat in the original Hebrew. We here see it as ceasing, and then yet they've translated it over the years as to Shabbat.
oh, okay. I think I get it. Let me know if I got it right. So if we just stick to the word Shabbat, it will be about the day instead of the intention of the day, which is to stop and cease and desist. So if we just keep calling it Shabbat, it is not wrong to call it Shabbat, but the thing is that the understanding of the word Shabbat can be just diluted into the rituals that we may do in Shabbat. So that's why it's better to call it the day of ceasing, the day to stop.
Yeah, and I understand that. I guess maybe that's yeah, I maybe I just find it unusual or interesting now, believing and reading the Bible the way I read it. Um, Again, more connected to the Hebrew, but that in the English translations over the years, they've taken ceasing, and the translators have made it Shabbat. Yet we know it today. Shabbat should be Saturday, but the Christian church, that was one of my big things when I started studying the Torah. It's just like I went, well, yeah, we just skipped over the fourth commandment, or we misunderstood the fourth commandment, or the fourth commandment was Sunday, and they told us it was Sunday, but it really wasn't Sunday; it was Saturday. You understand what I mean? And now, when you read it, and I understand totally what the Hebrew translation is saying, and I understand that. I guess I was just looking, kind of always in my head. I'm trying to connect the dots from my past to where I am now, and understanding that was a big thing for me. The fourth commandment really didn't make sense for my whole Christian life in the evangelical church. compared to the way I understand it now, right? It's like we just weren't doing the fourth, we need to do these commandments and we just didn't do the fourth commandment. Everybody in the world still that doesn't believe in the commandments or the Torah the way we study it now are still not doing that commandment. They may be doing everything else, but they're really skipping over number four a lot.
That's why it's also interesting that this actually happened to maybe most of us here in this group. But let's see how it starts, this fourth word. It says remember. And if we connected, what we are saying is once you get to understand who I am, you will remember what the Sabbath is. You will remember the day of ceasing. So that's why we can say, oh, now he has attracted more to me. I understand his love a little bit more because now I do observe the day of ceasing. So it is a fulfillment of this promise of the fourth word. So if it depended on human strength, again, it has happened through all these millennia. Human just will forget about the Shabbat and turn it into Sunday or whatever. No, but once we get to understand, once he brings us to him, taking us out from slavery, we remember. Oh, remember Shabbat. Oh, Shabbat. Oh, day of ceasing. Oh, it's here. It's the fulfillment of a promise, and that will happen with all the rest of these promises. Okay, thank you, Steve, for your commentary. Lucy, yes, you have raised your hand.
I was listening to a Hebrew study, and it was regarding the 8 words, don't steal, and how the word that is used is tignov. So in Hebrew is lo tignov, don't steal. But that word is for stealing people, kidnapping. The teacher, he was explaining that the word for regular steal is ganaf. And ganaf has the same root letters that tignov, but ganaf is for the regular things that you are taking from another person. So yes, it has it's not good to do ganaf, it's not good to steal, and you have to do reparations, and you can go to do sacrifices, and you need to return whatever you did wrong, and you need to recognize in front of other people. But that doesn't have the a level of damage that means stealing someone else's, stealing someone else, kidnapping. That is what the commandment, not the commandment, what the word says. So just to put it out there, Lotiknov is about don't steal, but it's don't steal to the level of kidnapping. Don't take other person's life. That's not okay. You shouldn't be kidnapping anyone. The stealing, yes, it is implied living in community. You shouldn't be taking anything, and it goes along to the 10 Commandments. Don't covet anything, because you are not coveting anything. You really don't want to take anything from anyone. But the key difference is at the level of don't steal. You are not gonna die if you steal something. You are gonna have to repent, do teshuvah, do reparations, and do everything right. But you shouldn't be kidnapping people, and that's the difference.
Thank you, Lucy. Even though I do agree with you, I just made a quick search on the word, and I don't see this being just to be used as kidnapping another person. And of course, that would be stealing another person. But at least from Jeff Benner and the Hebrew Chaldee lexicon, it does say it's to steal things, not necessarily humans. It actually is to wrongfully take the property of another, to steal.
Yeah, this was much in the context of the Hebrew thinking, how the word is used. So we have synonyms, we have different words kind of meaning the same, but the emphasis and the main use for this particular word. So just to put it out there.
Thank you. I'll look into it. I think it's stealing anything, even humans. But we'll see on the Hebrew context how it is used. Thank you, Lucy, for the contribution. Dominic, you have raised your hand, yes?
Just pretty quick that all this different way of view, the 10 words, made me think or made me meditate upon how we direct our prayers, because it's not the same as God. Why you don't change this on me, right? It's different as that there is something on you I cannot perceive yet, can still falling, let's say, on this behavior. So it's changed completely the way how we communicate with God in our prayers. Instead of asking to remove something that we have been doing, right? Instead of oh, there's something I still doesn't know you, that this promise is not fulfilling me. So the way we communicate with Him, or at least from this day, it's gonna change the way I pray to Him, or the thing I think is working on me, right? So I just wanted to add that.
Thank you, Dominic, for sharing that. Carol, you have raised your hand.
I was thinking during Steve's words about the Shabbat, that even if the religions understood that it was Saturday and Sunday and such, it's still not meant to be understood, because the direct assurance of these words come with that, with just surrendering to the Elohim of us, and then He will make these things happen in our lives as part of just being with Him. So even if all the Christian churches out there got together on Saturday, since there would be the same thing, it would be a religious act. Even now, whenever I send Shabbat Shalom in the chats and stuff, every time I send it, I think and I tell myself, don't just say Shabbat Shalom because it's what it's used to by everybody by saying it. I'm really thinking, I'm really like wishing everyone that communion of Shalom with Him on this day of ceasing. That's exactly what I did, but I don't, it would be just words, anything could be just this religious thing. So that's what I think. I think that even if people understood that it wasn't Sunday, that it was Saturday, that most people, because we know, will just practice it as religious, because we know that the ones that God has chosen to give His pure revelation of Himself are few, and we are just too blessed to be here, even understanding little by little. And I just think back at all the things I the scriptures, discovering, all the things I believed in the moment that were true and I was mesmerized by it. And now those things have changed to even deeper, a little adjusted meanings too. So even now it's so, I relate it so much to my daily life, but there's more, there's always more. It just makes me want to just sit and just absorb. But this is what He wants us to do. Just surrender to Him. He will make these things come through in our lives. We just gotta surrender all of us.
Thank you for your commentary, Carol. Yes, the more intimate we are with Him, the more His word will be a reality in our lives. So thank you for your commentary. Let's keep reading because we'll still have a lot to read. So let's go to verse 15, I think. Verse 15. After the 10 words in chapter 20. So let's see the human reaction upon these promises. All the people experienced the thunder, the lightning, the sound of the shofar, and the mountain smoking. When the people saw it, they trembled, standing at a distance. They said to Moshe, "You speak with us, and we will listen. But don't let God speak with us, or we will die." Moshe answered the people, "Don't be afraid, because God has come only to test you and make you fear Him, so that you won't commit sins." So the people stood at a distance, but Moshe approached the thick darkness there where God was. Adonai said to Moshe, "Here is what you are to say to the people of Israel. You yourselves have seen that I spoke with you from heaven. You are not to make with me gods of silver, nor are you to make gods of gold for yourselves. For me, you need make only an altar of earth. On it, you will sacrifice your burnt offerings, peace offerings, sheep, goats, and cattle. In every place where I cause my name to be mentioned, I will come to you and bless you. This is a very important part of the verse. In every place where I cause my name to be mentioned, I will come to you and bless you. If you do make me an altar of stone, you are not to build it of cut stones, for if you use a tool on it, you profane it. Likewise, you are not to use steps to go up into my altar, so that you won't be indecently uncovered. So interesting, and very interesting. So we see here that the reaction or the human condition is to, wait a moment, if we are too close to God, we might even die, because there's a need for us to die to our old selves. We want to be continuing to be the same as we were. So we have this sense of dying because something in our lives has to die in order to these promises to be fulfilled. It's like when you are single and you get married, you renounce or you die to your single life. Now you get married. It's like the same. So we see here that they don't want to die to their old lives. We see that, and actually the need of a Kohanim in order to connect with God, just like little by little, the need of a Kohanim, the need of an intercessor. So let's jump into the Haftarah. Let's go to Isaiah 61. Isaiah 61. No, not Matthew. Isaiah. Or Yeshayahu. Yeshayahu 61. 59. 61. Verses 1 through 6. So let me read them for you. So it's just the song that we listened at the beginning. Ruach Adonai Elai. Remember that song? This is the same song. This is the same Hebrew words right here. The spirit of Adonai Elohim is upon me. That's Ruach Adonai Elai. Because Adonai has anointed me to announce good news to the poor. He has sent me to heal the brokenhearted, to proclaim freedom to the captives, to let out into light those bound in the dark, to proclaim the year of the favor of Adonai and the day of vengeance of our God, to comfort all who mourn. Yes, provide for those in Zion who mourn, giving them garlands instead of ashes, the oil of gladness instead of mourning, a cloak of praise instead of a heavy spirit, so that they will be called oaks of righteousness, planted by Adonai, in which he takes pride. They will rebuild the ancient ruins, restore sites long destroyed. They will renew the ruined cities, destroyed many generations ago. The strangers will stand and feed your flocks. Foreigners plow your land and tend your vines. But you will be called Kohanim of Adonai, spoken of as ministers to our God. You will feed on the wealth of nations and revel in the riches. That's it for the Haftarah. Any questions or commentaries on this? Actually, let's jump into the Brit Hadashah, because it's exactly the same words that Yeshua used at some point. He is the one we needed. He is the only intercessor that we needed. So let's go to Luke, the Gospel of Luke, chapter 4, starting from verse 16. Luke number 4. So verse 16. Now, when he went to Nazareth, where he had been brought up on Shabbat, he went to the synagogue as usual. He stood up to read, and he was given the scroll of the prophet Yeshayahu, Isaiah. Unrolling the scroll, he found the place where it was written, Ruach Adonai Elai, again. The spirit of Adonai is upon me, because he has anointed me to announce good news to the poor. He has sent me to proclaim freedom for the imprisoned and renewed sight for the blind, to release those who have been crushed, to proclaim a year of the favor of Adonai. Can you see his love again, freeing us from all this bondage? Verse 20. After closing the scroll, let's see about the human reaction again. After closing the scroll and returning it to the Shamash, he sat down, and the eyes of everyone in the synagogue were fixed on him. He started to speak to them. Today, as you heard it read, this passage of the Tanakh was fulfilled. Everyone was speaking well of him and marveling that such appealing words were coming from his mouth. Such appealing words, such appealing promises, such appealing oaths were coming from his mouth. They were even asking, can this be Joseph's son? Interesting question. Then Yeshua said to them, no doubt that you will quote to me this proverb, Doctor, cure yourself. We've heard about all the things that have been going on over in Capernaum. Now do them here in your hometown. Yes, he said, I tell you that no prophet is accepted in his hometown. It's true, I'm telling you, when Eliyahu was in Israel and the sky was sealed off for 3.5 years so that all the land suffered a severe famine, there were many widows, but Eliyahu was sent to none of them, only to a widow in Sarfat in the land of Sidon. Also, there were many people with Saraat in Israel during the time of the prophet Elisha, but not one of them was healed, only Naaman the Syrian. On hearing this, everyone in the synagogue was filled with fury. They rose up, drove him out of the town, and dragged him into the edge of the cliff on which their town was built, intending to throw him off. But he walked right through the middle of the crowd and went away. So, questions, commentaries, contributions to these last verses. It's interesting, the need we have and the rejection, the immediate rejection to the love of God. Interesting. Any commentaries, questions, or contributions to this before jumping into our private section of this class? To remember, then now is a very good day to take decisions, actions, and commitments, or at least start trying to think about what is the Lord asking from me upon the readings that we had today. Steve, you have raised your hand, yes?
Just a comment again on do you lean in to listen, or do you instinctively dismiss it? And as Yeshua was speaking there at the end, at the beginning it seemed like they were leaning in to listen, but at the end they instinctively dismissed it. and then it's again, I just like again some of the, I'll call this a miracle in the sense of what it is, that he just walked through the clouds, and and his glory and his power just allowed him to walk through, even though he had given them, like I said, they could have leaned in and listened and accepted again an opportunity where they could have accepted him as the Messiah, right? But they again dismissed it and left it as it was. So I just connected with that last question. That's all. That's just a comment.
Thank you. And also, it happened like with the thing with Yitro. He's like, we know this guy. Oh, look, what marvelous words are coming out from his mouth. Oh, this guy is well known. But the immediate reaction is, well, now I have to change. And when we need to change, we resist. And sometimes we do react, sometimes with anger, sometimes with fear, because we don't want to. The thing is that every change in our lives means that when we decide something, we are also rejecting something. When we have two options and we go for one, we reject the other one. So when he offers us a new life, we have to renounce or reject our older life. So that's why this is a matter of life and death. We have to die to our old selves. And that's when we become fearful and sometimes we become angry. Anyway, if there's no other commentaries, let's pause the recording for a moment so we can jump into the decisions, actions, and commitments that the Lord is asking from us today, that we need to transform and we need to decide in order to renounce to our old lives or old ways of being to become a new being, the one that He wants us to become. So thank you everyone for sharing your actions, decisions, and commitments. Remember, all of these classes are meant to go into transformation of ourselves. And that happens only when we take a decision, when we take an action, or when we fulfill a commitment. So that's why it's so important for us to have these moments of sharing our commitments and to be held accountable to the rest of the group. So thank you everyone for sharing straight from the heart what you are living and your struggles and the decisions that you are willing to make for the week. So anyway, let's end up this Parashah 59. Let's end up by praying. And Lucy, can you help us out pray, please?
Our Father, thank you, Father, for allowing us to get together as a family, brothers and sisters, and you are our Father, guiding us. You are talking to us, Father. Help us to open our ears of our soul, our heart, to be able to follow your words, your guidance, your love, being able to reflect your love to other people around us so they can see you through us. We are making commitments not only to you, but to us, because we want to become the people, the character of Yeshua that you want to develop in us. I thank you for Molly and his time and the devotion and the work and the study and the dedication. Bless him, Father. Bless his wife and his family. And for all my brothers and sisters here to allow us to support each another and be moving forward in this process. Thank you, Father, for this week that you are allowing us to start. Thank you, Father, for everything you have done, everything you are doing, and everything you will do for us. We praise you, we love you, we follow your Son, Yeshua, and we want to hear the Spirit, the Ruach HaKodesh. Thank you, Father.
Thank you everyone for being here today in Parashah 59. So that'll be for today. So have a very blessed and functional week. So Shavua Tov for all of you. Take care.
Shavuot Tov. Ciao.
Yeah, bye everyone.